Last week, I went to Italy to ride the new Yamaha Tracer 700. When the recipe for the Tracer 700 is so heavily based on the MT-07, there's not that much that can go wrong, is there? The Tracer 700 shares its engine, suspension and brakes with Yamaha's popular MT-07, and it's similarly easy to get on with and handle, thanks in part to its 196 kilogram wet weight. That's 14 kilos more than the MT-07, and it means that the Tracer 700 is lighter than the competition from other Japanese manufacturers, including Kawasaki in the Versys 650 and Suzuki with the Visordown 650. Deciding to base a middleweight tourer on the MT-07 gives a good indication of what Yamaha is aiming for with the Tracer 700. It's a distance-devouring machine. It's light, easy to ride, agile, sporty, and it's also fun and versatile. And it's as basic as the MT-07 too. So there are no fancy electronics, high-spec suspension, colour screens and other sort of technological marvels, and none of that matters because at £6,299 it's a lot of bike and potential adventures for the money. To compare it with the competition, that price tag means that the Tracer 700 undercuts the Visordown 650 by £700. It's 450 quid less than the Versys 650 and a whole £1,516 less than the BMW F700 GS. But it's not just price where I think the Tracer 700 has the edge over its competitors, because I reckon it looks pretty good too, thanks to that clean, modern and sharp looking front half fairing. If I had to choose a middleweight tourer on looks alone, I'd only have trouble picking between this and the Kawasaki Versys 650. But the Tracer 700 isn't all fur coat and no knickers, because thanks to the differences between it and the MT-07, it's well kitted out to take you from A to B via the south of France, all the mountains in northern Italy, should you wish. Compared to the MT-07, the Tracer's got a bigger tank, 17 litres up from 14. But a lot of the points designed to help it go the distance come down to the Tracer 700's cosseting ergonomics and a ride position that's upright and comfy. When I first sat on the bike, it felt natural and well proportioned. The wide, high bars felt nicely to hand and didn't require me to sort of deviate or stretch out of the comfy position I was beckoned into by the seat. In fact, at the start of the test ride, as I was heading up into the mist of the Dolomites, I thought about the ride position and thought it was so neutral that I was in danger of forgetting about it. But of course, that's the idea. And instead of thinking about how my wrists or my back hurt, I was free to concentrate on how the leverage offered by the bars combined with the bike's low weight helped give the Tracer an agility that make it a doddle to work through the countless tight hairpins of the Dolomites, and how the seat was still comfy after 150 miles. And the seat is complemented by an equally comfy ride thanks to the Tracer 700 suspension, which is altered over the kit on the MT-07 to make it more adept when the bike's loaded up with luggage or a pillion. So rather than getting kind of brand new or totally reworked from the ground up suspension, the front suspension has been given a new spring rate and altered damping, and the rear shock has gained an additional 12mm of travel. The Tracer 700 shares the same ride characteristics as the MT-07, which is to say that it's a bit on the soft side. Although it's comfy and provides a good connection to the road, it can get a bit bouncy if things really push on too much or you're too aggressive or clumsy with your riding. The Tracer always felt and handled best when I was being smooth and behaving myself, when it actually rewarded me with a really gentle, compliant ride that allowed me and it to flow harmoniously with the twisting roads and changing cambers. Another chassis change is the increased wheelbase. At 1450mm, the Tracer is 50mm longer than the MT-07 because it's got a new, longer swing arm. Having ridden an MT-07 last week, the additional stability of the Tracer 700 reminds me what a compact bike the MT-07 is, but the Tracer 700 still turns deftly, quickly and easily. The one thing that was constantly superb during the time I spent riding the bike was that twin-cylinder 689cc engine. It's the same torquey motor that's in the MT-07, and thanks to the amount of torque it produces, it felt like it was the perfect motor for tackling mountain roads when there's a constant need to power out of bends and away from wheezing middle-aged men in lycra. The torque is immediate, accessible and plentiful, and the Tracer 700's lovely mid-range punch made it really engaging and pleasurable because there's no need to sort of cane the life out of it to try and get the most out of it. In short, the engine simply brings a slice of ease and fun to the kind of riding the bike deserves to get under its belt. And like the engine, the brakes remain unchanged from the MT-07. They don't have earth-shattering bite and can feel a bit wooden, but the power from the twin 4-piston front calipers and 282mm discs is there, and the front anchors do an adequate job of stopping the Tracer. In and around the cockpit, the mirrors are a good size, they gave me a good view of what's happening behind, and the dash display is the same as the MT-07's. It's clear and easy to read and includes a gear position indicator and all the kind of useful stuff you'd expect to find. The controls are straight off the MT-07 as well, which is fine, but I find that the button for the horn is in a strange position. It's just out of reach of my thumb, so I can never get to it when I want it first time, but that's a minor niggle. The MT-07 has been a huge success story for Yamaha, and it's easy to see why. It's a great bike for the money. Yamaha has applied the same philosophy to the Tracer 700 and produced a brilliant value, versatile bike with a great engine and decent looks. I could have happily dodged the airport and yet another EasyJet flight to ride it home from Italy.